that's what you do in a place like this. You don't close any doors, and you don't necessarily stick to a routine and do the same thing every day. Things come along and you get to experience different things and do different things, and this was just one of those things that I thought, well, hey, why not? Never done that before.
Apple pulled the ADP system from the UK, and in March, reports revealed it had launched an appeal against the government at the Investigatory Powers Tribunal. The Home Office had sought to keep this appeal completely secret to protect
playing through the speakers, and then I remember looking out onto Queen's Road in Watford, and suddenly
I think it's incredibly important to work with your hands. It just gives me a huge sense of satisfaction. Something that you initially found very difficult to achieve suddenly becomes second nature, and that's a really good feeling. And feeling that you are achieving something. But, I mean, that doesn't happen every day. Sometimes you feel as though you're going backwards. But that's part of life, isn't it? I was a musician for quite a long time, and at the end of the day, you're only as good as your last performance. So it's nice with this because at the end of the job you can stand back and see what you've achieved rather than, you know, not having anything to show for it.
If you were to describe Mark in one word, what would it be?
I would need 2 words, I'm afraid, because kind doesn't do it, but immensely kind does. And insanely talented, because what he does is carry on a tradition which is so precious, and there are so few people doing it, and he has such a passion for it, and he has such an eye for it, because he knows that skill inside out, and he knows those boats inside out.
Okay, so this is obviously very old, 1930, and it's been in a woodworm-ridden shed. So if you look closely, there's hundreds of tiny little woodworm holes in all, and obviously after a best part of 100 years, everything's looking a bit tired.
There's a calmness and there's a tranquilness and there's a just really content. I mean, obviously he swears sometimes when things don't go well on the boat, or a strap breaks, or an engine for a boat's not working or something. I'm not saying it's always, but I can see that he belongs in this place.
The story of pop.
I don't know whether I call myself an artist or not. I just have a nice time in here, and if somebody liked what I do, then that's great. So, but I don't go around calling myself an artist generally.
Tamsin is definitely a proper artist. And she's always experimenting. She never just churns out the same thing over and over again. She's always changing something, trying out new ideas. And I think the minute you stop doing that, you're artistically dead. Tamsin wasn't actually producing any art at the time because she'd been head of the art department in a big school in the West Country, and it didn't really give her the time or the space in the headspace to do her own thing. So it took her a while, I think, to get over the teaching thing and start being creative for herself.
Basically, my life had changed, but I didn't know how it had changed because everything I had was no longer. But I didn't know what the next part of my life was going to be. And there were friends and relatives saying to me, oh, all my children had graduated from uni. And there were people saying to me, oh, but this is your time now. This is all about you. But I didn't really know what that meant. For a bit of a change from painting every day, I do make other things, but I don't really paint anything else other than the view. Yeah. But some days, some days it's like this. So every day it's like painting something different. It's not like painting the same thing. I never feel like, oh God, I did that yesterday, I can't do it again. I think, oh wow, look at it today.
You don't need amazing sunny weather for her to absorb it. She can get just as much out of a really sort of moody, dark day as she can out of weather like this. And again, the reflections of the sky in the sea, it changes all the time, and she's really good at capturing that.
So I always start with the water and the sky, and then I build up the landscape with I have to let that dry completely. Then I build up the landscape on top with these layers, because to me that's how it looks, Earlier Mark came in, I lost concentration, I had a pot of ink like this and I just tipped it all over the painting, and immediately I swore quite a bit, but then I thought, and I put it outside to dry, and I thought, oh, I actually really like that. And so I like it when things go wrong and you go, oh wow, look at that, wasn't what I intended at all. I feel really warm about them, and I hope other people get that when they look at them, it's real love for a place,
Sent it back and got no reply.
No, and then my mum messaged back and said,
Just a simple question to finish us off. What are you going to do the rest of your day?
oh, I'm going to make, I'm going to go in Mark's workshop and I'm going to take over his saw to chop up some wood to make little fishing boats, because somebody bought the last one yesterday, so I need to make some more. I've got another market tomorrow, so maybe I'll sit in the sun for a bit, because I won't be sitting in the sun tomorrow. But yeah,
I'm going back to the workshop to do some machining, preparing wood for the repair on the old boat that I'm working on. That's my plan.